Hello, friends, and welcome back. So today we are doing another mod review for Tank Girl 444's Spacesuit Pack 2025. First thing I'm going to note is the 2025 implies that there's going to be a 2026 version, which I would be very excited for because this was very fairly priced at 400 credits, gives you several new spacesuits, and they kind of range the gambit of very lore-friendly variants of the Starborn suit to things that are just absolutely out there, and you can see by that ancient classical Greek inspired Starborn suit there, which I absolutely love and adore. It's a little bit out there, but I absolutely love it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about this. So we have several different spacesuits going on that are in this game, and we're going to be looking at kind of like the base of this because it is very customizable because there are lots of additions that you can mix and match with the different suits to create different kind of cosmetic appeals. So this one we are looking at right here is the captain's suit. There's a couple different variants of this. They all look a little bit different, and I think it kind of has this sci-fi anime look almost to it. And we are seeing right here is a variant of the Starborn suit, which I think gives a kind of almost like a Halo vibe a little bit. But I do love these spacesuits absolutely because they have a lot of different cosmetic appeals, but it's beyond cosmetic appeals. They actually do have stats to them and can be customized, and we will get into that a little bit later down the road. I just want to show off the base versions of the cosmetic appeal of this, and we're going to get a little bit better look at what we have here is a different version of the captain's uniform. That one is Crimson Fleet inspired, which I like myself. And then we have a lot of different other stuff going on here with some of these spacesuits, and we get like a whole gambit range. So cosmetically with your spacesuits, you can do a lot of different stuff here, as we have like this samurai look with the flaming eyes and smoke jetting off, kind of almost like completely out there, but absolutely adore it. It does give this really just insane sci-fi vibe to it, and like what is going on with all these different suits. So there's in total the base version, if you were just pairing up suits with their items, there's about like 8 different suits and cosmetic looks you can go for. But because how a lot of the items work, you can actually mix and match them with different suits and create almost an infinite plethora of different cosmetic items or different cosmetic looks. But here is a different version of the Starborn suit, which is has a little bit more of a tanky experience, like look to it, and it does have like the skull visor. So I do like the different visors. Everything is like very customizable on this, and like I said, you can absolutely mix and match stuff appropriately to kind of get like different cosmetic looks going on that are well beyond the scope of what Tank Girl probably initially thought of. And myself, I've kind of started going down that rabbit hole where I'm mixing and matching different parts and pieces of the suits to kind of create my own aesthetic look. So here we're going to look at the workbench. So everything's all neatly packed into one workbench. There are several different like clickable things on the workbench. We're going to kind of go through and take a look. So there we were kind of looking at weapons. So they have offhand weapons. The offhand weapons do not work as of now, but they do add stat boosts. I'm told as soon as animation tools get added to the creation kit, those offhand weapons will be fully functional. And as we see here, Tank Girl has put in several README files, so if you're having any kind of difficulty with this mod and understanding how it works, there are README files available for you to kind of, get clarity on how everything works within this mod itself. Now we're looking at the actual main hand weapons. We can see there's several different weapons. Those shields are, as of right now, are not functional, but they do add a stat boost. And like I said before, as soon as animation tools get added to the creation kit, we'll see those shields become functional items with actual working animations with them. But as you can see here, we're going to flip through all the different armor pieces you can craft. Quite a lot that you could craft there, and it ranges the gambit from like this sci-fi anime kind of like space captain look all the way to like a classical Greece or like a warring clans era samurai that's been kind of starborn up, which is like, I think is super duper awesome. Now here's a lot of additional bells and whistles. As you can see, we have like different masks that you can apply to, you know, your space helmet to kind of give it different aesthetic looks. And a lot of these pieces kind of like snap on, like this helmet that I'm wearing that's in a Corinthian style. That is a snap-on piece, so it just snaps onto whatever helmet you want. It fits best with the Starborn helmet, but you could put that on any helmet you want. So this gives you kind of an infinite range of possibilities, because you could snap that onto a Mark 1 and see how it looks on that. So that's what I would say is the key selling point of this. Is a lot of the cosmetic items you can put on any spacesuit you want. So it doesn't have to be on Tank Girl's spacesuits. It could be something from the base game, or potentially you could probably snap it onto maybe a different third-party mod spacesuits. See how that works. I have not tried that, but that is definitely a possibility that is available here. A lot of these here are like cosmetic holsters that come with like weapons that you can kind of place onto your spacesuit to make you look loaded out, like samurai swords, combat knives, guns, weapons. Some of these things actually do come with stats, like if you get like extra magazines on like the chest piece, it will increase your ammo capacity on your weapon, which is like a very cool feature in itself. So these aren't, I would not call them purely cosmetic. They do add some stats as well. And there's also some kind of like hidden Easter eggs in here. The strange potion you'll find in one of these, one of the workbench options. Very interesting. You should probably drink that. We'll cover that later on and what exactly that does. But there is a ton of stuff that you can go through here, and like I said, a lot of like the shoulder pieces, like you could take something that appears on like the samurai spacesuit, I think it's called the Star Shogun spacesuit, which is super duper cool. You can take those shoulder pads and then pop them onto like a Mark 1 to make a completely different look, or you know, pop it onto a Starborn look as well. Now I will advise you can potentially get a little bit of clipping doing it on some of the other spacesuits. Like majority of these were designed specifically to kind of snap onto like a Starborn spacesuit, but that being said, because they can clip, you can actually make an infinite combo of stuff, because you can actually like put two different headpieces on, and later on I will show you a little bit with two different headpieces. Actually, I'm going to show you right now. So this, I have that Corinthian style headpiece, plus there is also something from the Star Shogun set to kind of give like a little bit of a horned look, and they kind of clip together. So almost think of it like flip merging with your spaceship builds, so you can kind of jam stuff together to create a completely new look. One thing I would like to comment on is, I know a lot of cosmetic mods, they can actually be quite hefty in the file size. This was relatively small, so with the amount of stuff that Tank Girl added to this, this is under like, I think it was under 300 megabytes, the total download. So it runs actually really smoothly. And what we're seeing here is I drank that strange potion, and what exactly that does is it transports you to a fighting arena. But to get back to the point of file size, because this is a relatively small file size, I did not experience like any kind of performance issues or like textures of failing to load. Like I will get that quite frequently on the Xbox Series S with other cosmetic mods, and that's just because the Xbox Series S does not necessarily have the best performance. It's a reason why I picked it for doing mod reviews. If performance issues are going to show up, it'll show up on the Xbox Series S. I did not experience that on here, and I was kind of expecting, you know, like the first couple loads with like this custom spacesuits that I would experience that. But to kind of move on while we're going through this kind of fighting arena that she added with the strength potion here, all the spacesuits she has, they have an internal boost pack, so you do not need a boost pack. Now, myself, I've opted to have a boost pack because I think it kind of completes the sci-fi space traveler look. And there are options in there to like disable the internal space pack to allow your external space pack to kind of be the stats for your boost pack. So there is a craft, like an upgrade to weapon workbench in that workbench we looked at, and also an armor upgrade workbench as well on that one workbench. So I do like how everything's compacted into one workbench where you can upgrade your weapons, you can upgrade your armor, you can craft the armor, you can craft the weapons, you can craft like all the cosmetic pieces, and there is an absolute ton of cosmetic pieces. And then you have this little cool thing that she kind of like hid in there as like an Easter egg, where you have the strange potion, you drink it, and it kind of shoots you over to this combat arena, which is very interesting nonetheless. I did explore it pretty good. It looks like there are some areas with like 0G going on, a lot of different, you know, cosmetic things going on. Interesting, you kind of like push the button and it summons a different Starborn to fight every time you push the button. So pretty cool, really enjoyed it. Got some decent loot from it. But we're going to go ahead and kind of move on to creating like custom characters. So this is my reimagining of what if the Roman Empire had not fallen. So I took one of the new Starborn suits, paired it with the headpiece from the Spartan set, and then also some pieces from the Star Shogun set to kind of create my own aesthetic look. And basically my personal reimagining of how Roman troops would look like if Rome had never fallen and they were in Starfield. And that's the thing that I absolutely love about this mod, is because a lot of these are just pieces that snap onto the spacesuit itself, and they clip with each other. You basically can create like your own aesthetic look. And this just kind of unlocks creativity and imagination with you creating your kind of own Starborn look. And this is why this is like a must buy for me at a 400 credit price point. I think this is extremely well priced there. But we're going to kind of move on to my final thoughts on this. So to kind of like conclude and wrap up everything, what exactly do you get? So for a price of like 400 credits, I think there's about 8 or so different spacesuits that you do get. You get several different headpieces, and they kind of clip on to like any space helmet you want, but they are specifically designed for a Starborn space helmet. There's several different Starborn space helmets you can craft, several different visors for the Starborn helmets you can craft, and tons and tons and tons of other cosmetics that you can place on the spacesuit as well. A lot of them offer stat boosts, like the flaming skulls you can kind of like attach to like the space helmet to kind of give like this flaming skull look, which is I think is absolutely awesome. Um, Everything is like craftable and upgradable. The things they seem to blend very well with like base game elements. So everything works very well. The file size was kept relatively small, and so I didn't experience like any kind of performance issues, which I'll normally get, especially with cosmetic mods, because sometimes they can get rather large in their file size, and it can be like a little bit much for like the Xbox Series S, and I'll get things like where textures will fail to appear. I was not experiencing that with this. This was a rather smooth experience, and it does run the gambit cosmetically, so you have stuff that is very lore friendly. And looks aesthetically lore friendly, and then you get stuff like the Star Shogun set, which is kind of a little bit out there, but in my opinion, on Starfield lore, it's very easy to imagine you go into the Unity and you pop out, and Imperial Japan never fell during World War II, and this is the imagination of what would have happened then. So you have a lot of different things that are going on here. I don't see any particular lore issues, so it's basically a matter of like what cosmetics you want, and you have kind of with the ability to mix and match different armor sets, you have basically an infinite playground to kind of set up your spacesuit and get your own custom aesthetic. And that is something that I really like, because a lot of times you'll see people, they'll post pictures on like Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and everyone's wearing the same spacesuit sets. This way you can kind of create like your own kind of custom aesthetic and almost signature to your character, which is something that I absolutely love. I think you get more than substantial amount of content for $4. Like if I was going to fair market price this, I would think probably more closely akin to $6, just because of how, one, it performs very well. Two, the assets look very nice. Three, you get assets that do fit very well with the lore, but you also get stuff that can go a little bit more out there lore wise. And the customization part is probably the biggest part. I'm not sure if that was TG's intent for us to be able to customize these things by kind of clipping them together, but I've seen several people do that already online, and I've been doing it myself for several nights. So that, for me, is the biggest selling point, is the customization aspect, and the fact that I can create characters that look aesthetically unique, and I'm not going to see someone else doing the exact same thing. So that is something that I absolutely love about this, and that's why I would give it my recommendation. If I was going to rate this, 1 through 10, I would probably. You know what? I didn't find any problems with this mod. There was nothing that I was like lacking. Um, I mean, like, I would definitely want more content, but I felt that the amount of content provided for $4 was more than sufficient. So if I was going to rate this, like, it's a $6 value priced at $4, and it provides a very unique ability to get creative and customize your own stuff. I would have to call this like a 10. This is like a must-buy kind of item, in my opinion, because it allows you to kind of create your own unique custom spacesuit looks. But that's my opinion on it. Let me know what you think down below. And like always, friends, please enjoy the rest of your evening.